You need help with what? Probably an algebra issue. All right, number 1, 0.667, 0.67, 0.6. Any of those are fine. Molarity or moles per liter. Number 2, 7 grams. Number 3, 5.7 grams. Number 4, 4 molar. 4 are moles per liter. I did not take it out any decimal places, so I don't know that anymore. 5.6 molar, moles per liter. Number 6, 23.4 milliliters. And number 7, either 3.7 milliliters, or if you changed it in liters and didn't change it back, 0.0037 liters. Number 5, it says you've got 2 volume units that don't match in number 5. All right, the pen is black, so I don't know where it's at. Number 5, you have 100 milliliters, and you have 12.0 molar, and you have 2.0 liters, and you're finding big M. Because your units do not match, you have to change them. Doesn't matter which one you change. Guys, I don't mind doing homework, but stop talking while I am. Now, which one you want to change, Linda?
100 milliliters.
Okay, so divide by 1,000. That's going to give you 0.1 liters. 12, 2, and then M. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. And then find molarity. Okay, what else? You said 7? All right, and number 7, they gave you 0.54. So big M is 0.54. We're looking for the volume. We're looking for liters. Okay? So you have 0.34 grams. 0.34 grams has to become moles. Grams to moles. 1 mole. And then you have silver nitrate. The mass of that is 170. So when you divide, you get 0.002 roughly. Okay? Those moles have to go here. Yeah. Okay, so now we know how to add.
Number 4.
Cross multiply, 0.54 liters equals 0.002. Divide by 0.54 on both sides. And you get 0.0037 liters. And then you got to change it to milliliters. And number 4, you have grams. You got to change to moles. So 26.42 grams. Grams to moles. 1, the mass of that thing is 132.
Yep.
So you get 0.2.
Yep.
All right, so molarity equals 0.2 divided by, what's my volume? 50. So we're going to have 0.05 when we divide that by 1,000. 4.
1.6.
You got a calculator mistake. Yeah. Number 6. All right, and number 6, you're using dilution again. So you see how it says 750 of a 0.5? Those two numbers have to stay together. That's 750 of a. All right, so M1 V1 equals M2 V2. So 750 and 0.5 have to stay together. It doesn't matter if they're the 1s or the 2s, but they have to be on the same side. Okay, I just made them 1s. And then the 16, and you want to know the volume of the 16. Now, do the units all match? You've got molarity and molarity, so they're good. So now you're just solving for V. So divide this side by 16, divide that side by 16. Multiply and then divide. Okay? Number 5 is 0.6. If I'm reading my number right, it's sort of on the line, but I think there's a decimal there. Anybody else? Nobody else on this one?
Can we skip this, please?
Nope.
I'm good on this math stuff, but I don't know what else you're about to put in this quiz. I don't know it.
All right, last part. If I can turn this around at this point. All right. Number 1. NaCl. Will it dissolve in water? Yes. CCl4. Alcohol? No. All right. I2. Will it dissolve in water? No. CCl4? Alcohol. Everybody good on 2? All right. Alcohol or ethanol is an alcohol. So what about water? Yes. CCl4? Yes. Alcohol. Benzene? Water? No. CCl4? Yes. Alcohol? Yes. Br2? Water? No. CCl4? Yes. Alcohol? Br2? Water? Oh, we just did that one. Sorry. I've lost track of where I am. KNO3? Yes for water. CCl4? No. And alcohol? No. Toluene? Water? No. CCl4? And alcohol? Okay. And that's not an alcohol, by the way. Toluene is just a nonpolar solvent. And then CaOH2. Water is a yes. CCl4? No. And alcohol? No. Questions about anything on that page?
Can you repeat 1? I'll get my paper out.
6 and 8 are both only waters. They're ionic compounds, so they only dissolve in water. They will not dissolve in nonpolar or alcohols.
Can you repeat 1? I was getting it out.
Huh?
Can you repeat 1? I was getting it out.
Will I repeat 1? You were getting it out? It's an ionic compound, so it will only dissolve in water. I tried to make it easy.
What do we need to take out?
Calculator, periodic table, and reference table. I mean, the formulas are on your reference table, so you can certainly have them.
What did you say?
You may have your periodic table because you're going to need it. You may have your reference table because the formulas are on it. And you need a calculator. Yeah, both of them on. Not halfway down.
I see 1.
There.
No.
You left it on your bed again or your desk?
No, I think it's somewhere in my room.
Sure.
Where it is.
I know what you write it in. All right, is everybody have what we need?
What do we need again?
Yes, you have to write the letter on the line.
Oh.
Come on, before I forget what the stuff I'm supposed to do.
No, ladies, you got to remember it beyond today, dear. You at least got to remember it through June the 4th. After June the 4th at 12, well, probably about 11 o'clock. I don't care.
Did you get the schedule today?
Yeah, the only thing that changed was people in Pendergrass's multimedia class are taking the exam, I think, on Thursday the 30th instead of Friday because some of them have conflicting exams. Are you in Pendergrass's multimedia class?
Yes.
Then it affects you.
What does? I wasn't listening.
You have your test the 30th.
You have your test like on the 30th. When do you see Miss Pendergrass?
We have it on the 31st.
Well,
They changed it because it apparently conflicts with some people on the 31st. I'm sure she'll tell you about it today.
We don't have it today, thank God.
Or tomorrow.
Boy, she was on.
She's an ignorant person. She caught someone cheating and went and looked at the wrong computer. Because she looked at the screens because she has that like ability to do on the computer.
Yeah.
She went, saw someone was on close with it, and he sits in this row. It's like those 2 rows. Went to this person and was like, because then we're done with the test, the quiz wasn't open, and she thought it was probably like a malfunction in her thing. She's an idiot.
And I knew until we.
And he was the only one still testing, so obviously he was the one on Quizlet. Like,
Be nice.
no, she doesn't get tired.
Alright. So, before any of you do this, 1 through 9 is on the front.
New.
Number 10 is on the back.
Whoa.
So don't forget number 10. I'm using the new pen that I don't take out.
Please
Because
don't
break
scratch her.
the old pen.
when I was meeting with her, I asked her about it, and she said,
I'm
I
so
told her
impressed.
why, and I told her why. I don't know, I
It's probably
tried.
in his pocket, like I often put it in my pocket, and he's brought it back twice before when he's figured out he left with the pen, but today he hasn't figured it out yet.
Hey, it's the back, you know, is that, basically, we need to know what the ground looks like.
Celia, you and Joyce have a quiz. Stop talking before I give you zero.
We just basically need to know what the ground looks like.
You just need to read the question and answer it. This is not hard. Now, ladies, use your brain, read the question, pick the best answer. I have complete confidence in your ability to do this. Huh?
She did feel this.
Why? Didn't you do what you're supposed to last night?
I need one.
What's the date?
23rd. What?
I'm tired of these grabs.
Read it, not the answer. Then skip it and go on to the next one and come back and give it a guess. Stop complaining before I give you a zero. Yes, I mean, let's not have to grade. I'm all about less grading today. Stop lying.
See.
What? Hmm?
What did you say, fencing and tow?
I haven't heard it.
What did you say, fencing and tow? Actually,
You don't need it to answer the questions. Look at the chart. Look at what it tells you about whether it dissolves or not. Can you what? Sure. Is it from Shakira?
Yeah. I want to say the other prison, I didn't want to bother.
Okay.
Something else. Thank you.
No problem.
I would just saw it.
I thought it was for you at first. I was like, oh.
I got this board for you.
You take them out.
People aren't done this.
Or you said the, never mind. I can't even get this.
I'm just gonna turn it around like this, so I don't see it.
Okay.
Maybe if I fail it, it'll bring my grade up on final quizzes too.
So for number 4, we gotta
Back.
basically work out every single problem to see which one we get.
I guess.
I don't got room to guess. I gotta.
Green guys.
I'm not asking that. I'm just saying, would you work it out? Or would you?
I have the answer key.
You know what?
Just saying.
I actually felt pretty good about this.
That's good.
I
Except for
feel,
number 4.
I feel 60
That
or
one I
better.
Only 4 would be hard.
But it's confusing. I don't know what it's asking. Well, I see what it's asking, but I don't know.
I think I missed
So
like
I'm
just
gonna
3
work
or
the problem
4.
out, so y'all can have to wait.
So it's that.
Okay.
70? They're looking to miss 3 or 4. But I mean, hey, the 20 brings my grade up. Whatever. You.
That's crazy.
And 90 brings it down. So I don't know who to trust
I was
anymore.
asleep and I heard something go, like, cause I have it on my Bible. I put it on the pillow and I was like, what the heck? And I looked, it says Annabelle. I'm like,
What does she want?
what did she want? So I picked up, I was like, maybe she's like emergency. Joyce, a 20 brought my grade up? Like that. So what did you get on the line?
No,
No,
I got a
the 100
94 on the
that she got.
quiz, and it brought my grade down a point. And then I went through all of the things, and I was like, 100 lab grade brings it down 0.5, and then a 94 brings it down a point, and then the 87 brought it down 0.3, but then the 20 brought it up 2 points. I don't know who to trust, and I can't trust it.
here at 11 p.m.
I have hand average grade. It is averaging correctly.
It's stupid. So you know what? If I fail something, then I hope it brings the grade up like the 20 did.
It
So.
might. I don't know what to tell you.
Numbers.
Look, now,
Give it a guess.
numbers.
Can't trust them.
What is this?
It's a compound.
Yeah, but like.
You do this.
Crazy answers. I feel good about this.
Look, now I don't.
Good.
Okay, I'm sure about this stupid. We have a call bigger number. I will come to your house and I will just cry.
What was BB grade? What you did that?
Oh,
Alright.
Probably third period.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
kids do.
But it's already under the line, is that okay?
Yes.
Because now I don't know what to do.
Oh,
I don't think it's
yes, you do. You have to keep.
That's true. Pretty sure I can do it without the key, but it's always good to have backup.
but that's what I was asking you.
Alright, Miss Wall, ready. Can you just grade it right now so I can see what I got, please?
Nope.
Please!
No,
Come on.
When are they gonna be graded?
probably later today.
Can you just do it really quickly?
Miss Wall, my question.
No,
Here,
there's only 26 of these to grade. No.
do it really quickly.
But my thing's more important.
No, it's not.
Not.
Lydia and Dylan are still working.
Right, working very diligently.
Because I just went back.
Maybe.
Miss Wall.
I have a question.
Dang. God.
Cause no, Miss Wall be having a little attitude today. I ain't really messing with it. What you gonna do now?
I don't know.
You're up.
I forgot.
Yeah, but like, I don't, okay. I just, yeah.
Okay. Hallie, I don't remember what you said. Okay, I'm almost finished. I'm doing D.
Have we learned about network?
Mine's yours.
That's how you know if that's not the answer. I'm just asking in case I missed like a part of the notes we took or something.
What are you talking about?
This
So
is
number
network.
9, what's network? What's that?
What is
Okay.
that?
That's how you know.
We didn't.
I'm gonna give you a tip. So when you're taking the final exam, and you read a question like number 9,
If you don't know,
and you've never heard the word, is it likely the answer choice? Okay.
and I'm sure she did.
None of the other.
But I'm sure that's for.
Right.
Okay.
All right, if you will,
No.
if you're not gonna down an answer, at least put something.
Or
We're gonna get ready to take a vote.
answer.
You've had 20 minutes to answer 10 little old questions.
That's only 2 minutes for fun.
There. That's right, Linda. You let her know.
It took me 2 minutes to analyze the
You're assuming a degree in law when you get to school.
Maybe. But Miss Wall,
Might be a good idea.
Miss Wall, is this
What
this?
I have no idea. All right, if you look back first to the front.
That's what I'll put.
I guess. And I got.
But you're how I said it.
Said she could do quick math.
I think you're having some hard guessing skills.
You cannot.
No.
I'm just gonna go to all of this.
Sleep.
Eric, I don't know, before I go to work tomorrow, I'm sort of like a little.
Number 9 was?
Well, I guess that's it. But I gotta send Sarah Lynn out.
Double cheek up. Thursday.
Sarah Lynn, go back. Take a slow walk. Don't be fast.
Are you grading it?
No.
Why is she coming back?
Pull the door closed behind you so you can't get in on your own.
What are you doing?
Come on, we'll ask some questions. And I won't return the papers to you right now, so send her to the bathroom. Take a slow walk.
Oh.
Can you explain number?
I know I got it wrong.
Please say, what was the answer to number 9?
Right, what was it?
Because I saw the volume.
Of course, I got these cookies at home. Last night, Larry said, "You gotta take these. They got those pretzels with dog biscuits. They're really gonna take these cookies with dog biscuits." I was like, "No, I think enough crap about pretzels. I'm gonna take the cookies." All right. So if you look at the chart number 9, it says benzene is insoluble. Will it dissolve?
Yeah.
No. All right. Water is soluble, so it will dissolve, right? What things-
That means it's polar, because it can't dissolve.
Okay. So what things will dissolve in water? Ionic. What else? Polar. And what else?
Alcohol.
Right.
Is it ionic?
So, in your answer choices, you had to pick something that was ionic, polar, or an alcohol. Your answer choices were ionic,
I put
non-polar,
first.
network, and metallic. So what are the answer? What does the answer have to be?
Ionic. I got a 10.
Okay, it said slightly soluble.
But you said nothing? You just say ionic. Yeah, you said that. You said everything but ionic.
Yes, you did.
What?
That is alcohol.
Yeah,
Alcohol.
I
You said
think
everything but ionic.
That's what you
You just said that.
Let's watch the video.
Do not mess with the video. The guy in my wall back.
Hey, Nakaya, what's poppin', girl? What's poppin'?
So you're saying because it says slightly soluble, you
It
picked.
can't be soluble at all.
And what the word is like?
Oh, so you should say not.
Yes.
I would take that under advice. I won't say yes. I would consider.
So you should say that I would treat
I
everybody.
would-
Yeah.
Y'all are kidding, right? Okay. Slightly soluble means it will barely dissolve. Okay? Okay. I would not have thought that would have tripped you up. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, y'all are really
Your
weird.
assumptions.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I will take that under advice. I'm not saying I will give you 10 points, but I will get your hopes. I will think about half. What?
You know, my thing was,
What?
so, in our notes, I think you said, ionic is like how they said it isn't
Y'all, we have proof.
dissolved in alcohol, but then in the other one, it says alcohol can dissolve in polar context. So since ionic is polar, and it says slightly, and alcohol can dissolve in polar or non-polar, I just put ionic.
I don't get what you're saying.
I didn't understand that
You know, I
English
saw
right there.
slightly soluble, and I was like, all right, well.
can't be.
That's
not-
Can't be ionic.
But I think it
Yeah, because it says water is soluble there, it has to be ionic. That's the reason for it. Alright? And then D, yes, you had to calculate all of them separately to figure out which one had the greater number of water. For whoever at Valley, yes, you had to calculate them all.
Well,
You
tell
had-
me.
I have to calculate.
Right, I
So
got
you
to-
had to- It's in the back, I don't have it memorized. For the love of God, I didn't calculate them all in my head. Alright, so which one had the greater number of water? Two and two would be 4, so D. All right.
Please just grade them really
No.
close.
What about the weak one? The weak one.
Please.
The weak one,
I think
weak
so.
electrolyte would have been, H3PO4 is a weak acid. Let's see.
Wait,
H3PO4 is a weak acid. So let's see. CH3OH is a covalent compound. It was on the worksheet. CH3OH is one acid. Alright? No! Alright. Somebody open the door back up so Sarah Lynn will know to come in. Alright,
I've been listening real hard.
so let's move on.
No.
Yes. Alright, we have roughly 40 minutes. We're going to talk about acids and bases for a little while. Now,
We can talk about all the possible ways that everybody can get a 70 in this class.
now, we probably need 2 days to do all of acids and bases.
We could not be done in 40 minutes.
We can do the properties of acids and bases. Shut up, guys. Moving on. We can do the properties of acids and bases in 40 minutes. Maybe start math. But we cannot do the math in 40 minutes or less. Okay. It's fine. I don't expect a lot of people to be out in the bar because they don't want to sit there senior or something.
Miss Wall, do we need our periodic table or reference table?
You might need your reference table if we get the math. You leave all math?
Yeah, I have one left.
Okay.
As well, I really think for this class, you should be able to trade bathroom passes for money or something.
Nope.
Please? I will give you a whole probably $10 for that bathroom pass.
Okay.
Alright. So we're going to talk about the properties of acids and bases for a few minutes. And then if we have time, we'll talk about
I
math.
can add up to 10 to 15.
Now.
That's a whole letter grade.
You will most likely see a question, maybe 2 on acids and bases. That is usually a topic that I do not get to. And so they're the questions that people who get the highest number of questions correct have to guess at. Okay?
How do you run your board? Oh, you got it back.
No, I don't. I have the new one that I don't take out. Now,
Right.
so we're going to talk about properties of acids and bases. There are 5 properties of each. Okay, we'll start with the properties of acids. Number 1, acids are sour.
Sour.
Yep, acids taste sour.
Like citric acid.
Okay, and y'all can name things. For example, lemons, citric acid. All right, lemons have citric acid in them. All right, some of you would argue that oranges are, depending on which ones you get. Malic acid is in apples. Depends on which apples you get. If you're like Granny Smith. All right, what?
Warheads, rope candy, they're covered in malic acid.
Okay.
That's delicious.
All right. Depends on which items we're talking about. Citric acid is in lemons. There are others we can talk about. Acetic acid is in vinegar. Lactic acid is in milk. We could go on and on. Phosphoric acid is in soda. Just depends. Of course, soda's going to taste very acidic because we put a lot of what in sodas? Sugar. So we mask the acid that's in sodas. All right.
2.
Number 2.
Tastes like acid.
Acids
What
react.
does drug acid have in it? Straight up acid?
We refer to it as acid, but it's a long organic compound. Acids react with metals to give off hydrogen gas. I don't think it's freezing in here, but okay.
You think it's freezing in here?
I said I don't think it's freezing in here. They said, why is it freezing in here?
Yeah, for real.
All right.
Oh,
I think it's warmer in here than it has been.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I just
All right.
That's a whole nother.
So zinc is a typical metal. We've used it many times. All right. If we add it to HCl, this would be what kind of reaction? Single displacement. Okay. So if we single displace that, zinc has a +2. It's one of the transition metals we're supposed to know. Hydrogen has a +1 and chlorine has a -1. It doesn't matter that it's an acid. All right. What two elements would switch? Zn and H. So you get zinc chloride and plus hydrogen. All right. Zinc chloride is a compound, so what do we need to do? Switch your oxidation numbers, +2, -1. And hydrogen's by itself, what do you check? All right. This right here is your hydrogen gas. Okay? Now, hydrogen gas is in group 1, and so hydrogen gas is explosive. All right, it's very reactive. Now, if we did a small lab with that, we could test for that very easily. If we put the metal in a test tube and put some HCl in the test tube, it would react and bubble.
Do it.
We could put our thumb over it, which would trap the hydrogen gas. And then we could just put a piece of wood that had a flame or a glowing splint, like a burning splint over it, a piece of wood, and it would make a popping sound. It would not.
Please show us. I'll do it after school for extra credit.
If I have time tomorrow, I'll drag this stuff out. I've been putting stuff away today, so I didn't drag any more stuff out. All right, but if I have time in the morning, I'll drag it out for tomorrow's second period. All right, same for number 3. All right, number 3. Acids change the color of indicators. Down here out of the way. All right, acids change the color of indicators. Now, there are essentially 4 that you guys have to know. The nice part is 3 of them do the same thing. All right, so I'm going to do acids and bases together here and make one chart because number 3 for bases is the exact same property. All right. All right, so we're going to talk about red litmus. Blue litmus. Yeah, I'll pull it out and show you what it looks like. And if I have a chance tomorrow, I'll bring out acids and bases. Okay, let's try that again.
How long do you think it's gonna realize until he brings back the month of May?
Say what?
How long do you think it's gonna take him to realize he has to pay and bring it back?
I don't know. Either he has it or one of the kids from first period has it.
Oh, he usually brings it back right now.
He usually brings it back by now, so I don't know.
That's tough.
You got your braces done in Charlotte?
What's that?
Matthews. Is that your problem?
Yeah. Like lit.
I don't know.
On Tuesday.
That was late.
All right, so if we had red litmus, all right, red litmus is just red litmus paper. It looks like this. Okay, and I'll see if I can find some acids or bases to stick them in tomorrow. All right, so red litmus paper. What color does it turn when you put it in an acid? No, turns red. Okay. turns red when you put it in an acid. All right. When you put it in a base, it turns blue. All right. So blue litmus. What are you looking for?
Doing math.
I'm doing math. All right. Blue litmus paper is just the same thing except it's blue.
How many do we get? 2 or 4?
You get 3.
3 what?
Bathroom passes.
I
This
saw mine,
math
right?
wizard.
Yeah.
All right. So, what color does an acid turn?
Blue.
Try again.
Red.
Turns red. What color does a base turn with blue litmus?
Black.
Blue.
Turns blue.
Wait, so this is gonna be confusing because
I'm going to straighten it out in just a second. All right. pH paper. We have poor kind and expensive kind. This is the poor kind. This little yellow strips of paper.
What's expensive?
Okay. The expensive kind is the kind the biology teachers have stolen from me. We don't usually get to it, so I don't mind. The expensive kind is the kind that looks like
that's
this.
the kind of use that.
That's smart.
Yeah, it's expensive. That's why. Does a better job than that cheap stuff.
I
Alright.
stick that in our mouth one time.
No.
No, that would be a different kind. All right,
Oh, we
they have.
stick that in our Chick-fil-A.
Okay. All right, and again, you just match it up to the colors. Okay, which we'll talk about pH scale in a second. So, if we're an acid, what color do we turn? We turn red, and if we're a base, we turn blue. So, all acids turn red. Doesn't matter what paper you use, acids turn red. Okay? All bases turn blue. What? Can't wait to hear this. Okay, B and B. Remember the B's. They stay together. Bases turn blue. What?
I really think, and I feel like that's all agree with me, that this opening, since there's more, you should count it as a quiz.
Yes.
Now,
I'm doing all this math, and I just really think,
phenolphthalein.
that's a brilliant idea.
pH in the English language has an F sound, right? So that pH here, that's an F. All right, phenol. This F is silent. I know it's a weird word. Phenol. That pH is silent. Phthalene. Phenolphthalein. It's a liquid. Okay? It's an organic indicator. It comes in a liquid form. When you add it to an acid, it's clear. When you add it to a base, it's pink. If they ask you to use these, and I'm just giving you an example here, they will tell you the colors that it's going to turn. So this is not one you're going to need to memorize, but they will tell you what colors they're going to turn for an acid or a base, and they will give you a pH range. There's a sample question on one of the release tests that I'm going to give you, and we'll walk through it. Now, to review,
Whoa, don't.
tell me what you remember about the pH scale.
It's like,
Oh,
oh, 7.
7 is what?
The highest.
No, 7 is not the highest. There you go.
14 is the highest.
Okay. 0 to 7 is.
Wait, go back.
I am. I'm just trying to make it a little bigger for people in the back. 0 to 7.
It's baked.
Okay. 0 to 7 is acidic. 7 is neutral. For those of you who said that, you were right. For the people who said 0 to 7 is acidic, you were right. And that means 7 to 14 has to be a what? A base. Now, we will do more with that shortly. Okay? The math comes from the pH scale.
Oh.
Wait a second, I'm behind.
Shocking.
No.
I know you're plotting over there to change your grade.
Didn't we learn this in bio?
Asking that
You did.
the grade isn't that bad. Because we're having 4, almost, how many extra?
We got 10.
I will probably collect Wednesday.
No,
So-
normally we have 10.
12, and that just means that you could just put us a quiz grade, and I think it'll all help our grades out, unless that the
That
grading
is
still is
But
still
that's why you
backwards
do
and
that.
it's
You
just
put it into
100
test
brings it
grade.
down. I don't
Actually,
know what kind of
test
grade,
grade.
but-
Okay, dude. All right,
Hey,
everybody caught up?
are you gonna think on it? Are you gonna think on it?
No.
Why? No, Miss Paul, please think on it.
All right, so number 4.
It's not that. You just gotta change the button. Just a button, Miss Wall. Like,
Acids react with bases to produce salts and water. Okay, acids react with bases to produce salt and water.
you're gonna produce openings to quiz grade.
So,
That's it.
let's say that you have an upset stomach. All right, HCl is stomach acid. Okay, when you throw up, the burning sensation you feel in your throat is HCl. Okay,
Like, is this true or like you just make?
no, I'm just making this up as I go.
That makes sense. Honestly, I would believe that.
Yeah, me
You do a lot of silly things that stress
Are
me
you for
out.
real or like? I can't tell.
I'm really telling you the truth.
Oh.
All right, HCl is stomach acid. All right, the burning sensation you feel is the acid coming up in your stomach, which is HCl. If you throw up repeatedly, the HCl that you throw up will eat the blood off your teeth, the enamel off your
So
teeth.
that's good.
Why on earth would you want to eat the enamel off your teeth?
I thought it was that stuff that like.
No, that not plaque.
Oh.
No, not plaque. The enamel you don't want to eat off your teeth. Yes. Possibly, I don't know. Ms. Walton's not teaching biology, so that's a little out of what I know. All right. Now, if you have an upset stomach, you might take something like milk and magnesia. All right.
Right, name crackers.
I use this one because I know what's in it. Tums, Rolaids. Rolaids would be, Tums is calcium hydroxide. I could have just as easily used that one if you want to use Tums.
Why does salt and like, cause like I always eat, Dad always told me shots and crackers and Sprite. Why does that help?
It just tends to settle people's stomachs. Roseanne, hush. So, calcium hydroxide is in Tums, Rolaids. Some people like Pepto-Bismol. I just don't know what base is in Pepto-Bismol. I know some of them. Malox, Digel have aluminum hydroxide. Now, if you look at this, if they ask you about an acid, everybody knows all acids have to start with what?
H.
Has to be hydrogen with a plus sign.
Even I did.
If they give you an H with a negative sign, is it the right thing?
No.
No. Hydrogen starts at the beginning, so it has to be with a plus one. To be a base, it has to end in hydroxide, and it has to have a minus one. Cannot begin with a OH and a plus one because OH is never at the beginning. It's always at the end, so it has to be minus one. Now, what kind of reaction would this be based on what we've done this semester? Double displacement. So, plus one, plus two, that's a minus one. So which two elements are switching? H and Mg. So H is going to be with OH, and Mg is going to be with Cl. Now, when you put in your oxidation numbers, you wind up with HOH and MgCl2. What have we learned that HOH is called this semester? That's just H2O.
Water.
Okay, which we all know is our water. And I told you the other day that this was called a salt. And I told you it was an ionic compound. Okay? It's called an ionic compound because it's the positive from the base and the negative from the acid. Okay, but basically it's just an ionic compound. Every time an acid and a base react, you're going to get a salt. Salts are neutral. That's why people take antacids. They neutralize the acid that's in your stomach, and you wind up with a salt in your stomach, which is what makes you feel better. Yes.
That's why you eat
crackers. How many salts are there?
Many. Any group 1 or group 17 element can form a salt.
And it has to be with Cl.
No, it does not. It can be any group 17 or really group 16 element. It's just a metal and non-metal.
So what's the difference between the salts? Like 6 elements?
No, it's an ionic compound.
So
Any ionic compound can be a salt. So theoretically, there can be, I'm going to say 100. I have no idea. We can make a lot of them. Hundreds.
And do they taste different?
You can't eat some of them. They'd be poisonous. Okay?
You know those little strawberries that grow on the ground by people's houses for snakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask her what's in those. My mom always told me not to eat it. Duh, I didn't want to eat it. I
It looks like snakes.
Okay. People, the last biology class I had was in 1989. Don't ask me biology questions.
But you know what I'm talking about? The little
I know exactly what you mean. It's just a weed. I'm old. I have no idea what's in it. I don't know the parts of a cell.
the mitochondria and it's the powerhouse.
You got more than I got.
Extra credit.
All right. Number 5.
They're little tiny strawberries.
Acids are electrolytes. Now, at this point, I'm not going to say anything else about electrolytes, except that they're either strong or weak based on your list of 7. We should be able to do that at this point. Everybody good? All right, let's talk about bases.
No.
You don't get a vote.
How many properties do they got?
5, but the last 3 are the same. Number 1, bases taste bitter. Again, remember, keep the B's together for bases. They're blue and they're bitter. Number 2, bases feel slippery.
Snake.
All right, that's how you know you didn't get soap off your hands. Soap is a base. If you don't get soap off your hands, you can feel the soap is still on your hands. It's slippery.
What about
Okay.
bubbles?
Bubbles.
Is it still slippery? You didn't get it off. Okay. Now, 3, 4, and 5 are the same as acids. Okay? Except change the first word. Bases are going to change the colors of, what did it say for number 3 for acids?
Indication. I don't know. It says indication.
If I go back to number 3, it said acids change the
Indicators.
color of indicators. So number 3 should say bases change the color of indicators. For number 4, instead of acids react with bases, we should change it to react with acids. And for number 5, I should change it to bases are electrolytes. Okay? The same properties apply to bases for 3, 4, and 5. Do I need to write those again?
No.
Okay, I wouldn't have thought so, but I just want to double check. Now, that should cover the properties of acids. I know. Probably one of 5 people who wears this stupid thing on staff.
Yeah.
Now,
Come
me too.
But I can't.
Me either.
Miss
I
Walker,
gotta wait on the left board.
Miss Walker, come here. Come here. Okay, so this grade.
Oh, no.
Joyce, what time did you go?
I was in bed. I was like, okay,
Guys, before you all have a hissy fit like Annabelle over here, when I add the bathroom passes, they go on the last test. I'm not hunting for the lowest test. It mathematically will not matter.
Yes, it
No, it will not.
No, it's not.
Mathematically, it will not matter.
It's the same.
Okay, you just think it will. It will not matter.
Better.
It will not change the average. The only thing that goes on the report card or transcript is if I'm great. It won't matter where I put the points. It goes on the last test. Yes. So stop nagging me about changing it up, moving it all around. All right. So. All right, find your reference tables.
Oh, no, still worth the same.
Oh my God.
I got it.
Still, on the real opening.
Find your formula page.
I don't have one of those.
They're all formulas.
The one has the
So
formula
like, what will
one.
stop Miss Ball from letting what's
Now, if you look down, somewhere around almost the bottom, it's about halfway or a little more. All right, you're gonna have a formula that starts with pH plus POH equals 14.
Yeah.
All right, there are 6 formulas on that page that we need to learn how to use. Okay, they're all for the exact same topic. You are not going to be asked to use all 6 formulas. Okay, at most you will see 1 or 2 questions on this topic. Okay, probably only 1, possibly 2. That are going to use all 6 of those formulas. They're all for the exact same concept. Okay? So we're going to see what we can do to try to give you some ability to be comfortable with the formulas. Alright? Some of you are not going to get what I'm trying to do in 2 days class. I'm sorry. It's a little bit like balancing in physical science when I tell them we're going to do it for an hour. And those of you who get it, fabulous. Those of you who don't, I'm sorry. I'm not going to spend 3 days on 6 formulas. Okay? Now, in order to use these formulas, you have to know either H plus or OH minus. Okay? These 2 things, one of them will be given in the question. Okay? Has to be. You cannot have to find both of those values. So, if you're given, let's just say 1 times 10 to the negative 4th molar HCl. The question of the day is, which one of those 2 were you given if they gave you that number? That's exactly right. So, for those of you who got that, you are halfway to being able to solve using those formulas. All right?
But why square? Because there's a negative.
This right here is a what? Okay, is it an acid or a base? That's what we're going to be shooting for all day today. Is an acid. Okay? This is an acid. All right? So you need to be able to identify, is that an acid ion or is that an acid ion? Which one of those 2 is an acid? All right? H plus came from which one? Which one of these had the acid ion? The first one. HCl is an acid. So all acids have H ions or acid ions. All bases have what ions? OH. All right? So this is the acid ion. All right, let me fix that and separate those. All right, this is the base ion. So every time they give you an acid, you are always going to know the acid ion. Every time they give you a base, you are always going to know the base ion. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay? So, because they gave us HCl, we know H plus is equal to 1 times 10 to the negative 4th. Now, I can explain the stoichiometry if you want to know.
No.
Okay? But it's essentially a 1-to-1 mole ratio. That's the reason for it.
True.
But down and dirty, a week before the exam, if you know it's an acid, you know H plus is 1 times 10 to the negative 4.
Is that it's definite?
Yes.
Oh my
So
god.
that's something we should memorize. You have to know.
It's molarity? That's what it
It's the M is its molarity.
So
That's what M stands for.
is? So that's.
that means
Hydrogen ions molarity is this. If I give you this number for HCl, it's going to change depending on the word problem that you're given. This is just a sample. Okay? So, if you want to find OH minus, okay? Look at the 6 formulas that are on the paper. Okay? Which one has both H plus and OH minus in it that would allow you to find OH minus? Okay? Now, if you look at the formulas, you're looking for a formula that has both H plus and OH minus in it because you know H plus and you want OH minus. So which formula has both of those things in it? I've heard several people yell out the right answer. Now, that KW part, you can drop off. That's just the equilibrium constant for water. Okay? That just means the equilibrium constant for water, which is this number. You don't have to write K. Okay? Now, once you've identified that formula, all you have to do are plug in the numbers. What is H? So we're going to plug in 1 times 10 to the negative 4th. We don't know OH. And 1 times 10 to the negative 14th is a constant in the formula. So now, how do we find OH?
Divide.
You divide. Really?
You guys hear that?
Yeah, somebody's outside.
Oh, okay. I thought I was hearing voices. I was like, oh my god.
Annabelle.
they're probably finding plants.
close to the grass.
This is one of the reasons why sometimes you're struggling here. Focus on what I'm doing. Not just because you wrote it down does not mean you have a clue what I'm doing.
Annabelle, you have to study, honey.
And listen,
I'm not really start on that topic. It's good.
Right.
all right, anybody lost?
No.
That's what I was just
But
thinking.
I do have a question.
I'm not gonna say it. It just was that.
Uh-huh, exactly.
I didn't even see that 14.
You know, because I'm in my head, Joyce, I'm thinking about you. You struggle a little bit in here, but you're trying. I mean, you're following along with me. You're checking out the reference table. You're calculating. You hate chemistry probably just as much as Annabelle. But you're still with me. You're still trying. Come on, focus over there. Stop telling me how to grade openings.
Rosanna got a
Yes, Rosanna.
This isn't gonna be on a quiz anymore.
Okay.
It's on the exam that could do more for your grade than openings.
So are we not just gonna hear the question?
Yes, we are right now.
Okay, so how did you know how to find OH?
Okay, because you had,
The equation that.
okay, because you knew, let me find a different color.
Uh-huh.
All right, because we knew that this was H and this was H plus.
Correct.
Okay, and I wanted to find OH. So look at, you got your reference table in front of you. All right, so you're looking at all the formulas. We have to find a formula that has both of those things in it. Okay, so when you look at those formulas, can you find something out of those that has, yes, that's why we picked it. You see it out here? Because it has both H plus and OH in it. Okay, none of the other formulas have both of those things. That's why we
How far
picked
did
it.
you get?
If we plugged in H,
How far did you get?
and that's 1 times 10 to the negative 14 is a constant. This is where that A. Okay, and you look at that. Okay, and we divide by that 1 times 10 to the negative 4.
So you just solve normal.
Yes.
You said
This is just
essay.
three variables.
And you like.
One in one, the others are constant. We divide both sides, then we have a little. Are you with
So
me?
we know like method stuff.
I only got
You
that.
can paper, so we have to type for all that too.
I only got that.
When you go check
My
all
sister's
that.
fixing mine.
You said.
No, I said it's ugly and I don't want to get it done right. Last time she wrote my whole essay and it got it.
We already got like.
It'll be really bad.
Hey, I got you.
Okay. Alright. So let's say that we had 4.75 times 10 to the negative 8 molar KOH. Okay?
That's a lot of numbers.
Alright, what do we know?
We have OH.
This right here is a what this time? Alright, you have to recognize that that's a base. Alright, you see the difference, Rosanna?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a base this time. So which ion do we know? Do we know? Because again, you have to know one of these two. It has to be given. You cannot go into the question and neither of those things be given to you. One of them is always given. Okay? So you have either H plus or you have OH. The only question is, which one do you have? So if you know that this is a base, which one of these two is the base ion? OH. So that means this number is OH. So you have 4.75 times 10 to the negative 8 for OH. Okay? So what formula will let us find H plus?
Negative log.
All right. Does negative log H have both OH and H plus in it? As soon as you say no, that means that's not that formula. Okay. So what did you pick?
H plus OH negative 1 times 10 to the negative 14.
Yes. Do you agree, Nadia? Yes. Y'all should. This is the same one.
Always use that. Right.
If you have this and you want that, yes. Okay?
And you just plug in and talk.
That's correct. All right, so we're looking for H. And we have 4.75 times 10 to the negative 8 equals 1 times 10 to the negative 14. So to solve for H, what are we going to do? Divide by 4.75 times 10 to the negative 8. Hang on one second. You got what now?
2.1 times 10 to the negative.
That sounds right. Now, let's say they want to know pH. Okay? Now, back to your trusty reference tables. Okay? Change the orientation for a second for my people at the back.
Is it pH plus POH equals 14?
All right. So you have two P equations, right? So you have to look at what you found. You have H right here, right? So they have a POH and a pH. I said find pH. So you want to pick the formula that says pH, and then you have to put in the right number. So pH is the negative log of H. H plus, right? So you got an H here and an OH there. If they wanted POH, you would use which number?
7.5.
Yeah, that 4.75 10 to the negative 8. But we don't want POH. We want which one? pH. So you're going to say negative log of 2.1 times 10 to the negative 7. Now, when you put it in your calculator, it's exactly like it is on the screen. You don't have to do logs. You don't have to know anything about logs from math class. So don't freak out. Negative key, log key, 2.1 second, EE, negative, what was the exponent? 7. I left it off. Okay? So negative,
Negative 7.3.
it shouldn't be negative.
Well, that's why.
Look at him finally bringing it
Right, 4
back.
minutes
After
after
like, right. We've been waiting.
I'm sorry.
It's a good thing I have a spare.
I'm sorry.
We'd all be standing around looking at each other.
My apologies. My apologies.
Okay, I got 6.67.
6.67. Okay, that sounds about right.
I don't know. How would I know?
At 6.67 sounds about right. All right, what'd you punch in?
Negative log.
All right,
2.187.
all right, put negative 7. Next one is negative. Yes, perfect. All right, everybody got it? All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of practice with this to see what we can do tonight. Oh, stop with that. Don't give me practice. I want you to do well on the exam.
I want you to make me do well on the exam.
I don't know which questions you're going to say. All of the questions are 1 or 2
That was what we're
questions.
supposed to be doing for homework.
I'm going to take it home.
Tell us now. Right?
Maybe you should do line break.
Don't make me laugh, I'll kill you. I'm talking about you, but it's him too, it'll be his cause.
My bus pulls up.
Let me know if I
know. She's like, do you want to ride home? I was like, my bus is right here. She's
Caleb
like,
is bullying
I'm
me.
sorry. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
I love you, Patricia, hurry up. Patricia!
I want you to do odd numbers. Odd. Not all. Odd. Right now, we're just trying to nail down how to use the formula.
Sorry, stop playing with me. I'm going to kill you now.
Please don't pee on anybody in here. Have a good rest of your day. Annabelle, come here.